You have to have a purpose. You have to have like a real motivation, and earning money or buying something with money is not a real motivation. So it has to be like you have to be heart driven. I think that's the best advice I could give, because someone who knows his why will always find a way.
You're listening to Ecomonics, a Debutify podcast, your resource for one-of-a-kind insights into the world of e-commerce and business in the modern age. This is Joseph. I'll be presenting a wealth of industry knowledge from interviews with successful business people and our own state-of-the-art research. Your time is valuable, so let's go. Our first German guest, as far as I know, and Dropshipping Council member David Weisbacker demonstrates the value of being able to speak to people around the world and find perspectives that are at the same time fundamentally human but uniquely cultural. We talked to him about his strategies within e-commerce and dropshipping, trusting the right people to work with, and the ongoing need to develop the body and mind. David Weisbacker, it's good to have you here. Thank you for being on Ecomonics. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you for letting me be here. I'm looking forward to talk.
I am too. So far, I've been able to learn so much from each person. Although I will say, being somebody who's doing the show and managing the show and conducting the interviews as I go, a lot of the information that I end up absorbing when I review it afterwards, because I'm just getting bombarded with so much good stuff, and I'm just trying to keep up. So you guys really know your stuff, and that's the thing that I definitely appreciate. So first, and arguably most important question is going to be, who are you and what do you do?
So I'm David Weisbacker. I'm a dropshipper. I'm self-employed. I have my own company with my business partner, my best friend, and we're just, not that long in the game, only for about 1 year, I guess. We were just starting out. We had our first success. Actually, it was me alone who had the success. Then he came on board, and now we're trying to do that whole thing again and earn money again and learn as much as we can.
Well, 1 year, I can understand if it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but a lot of the people that I've talked to, there's a pretty common theme where, I mean, no one has been in it for 10 years. I'd say
Mm.
maybe the longest is like 3 years, 4 years. When I spoke to Shashir Nagam, who forged the council, he had only been in 2 years. So there's a sense of like quantum speed where the amount of things that people are accomplishing in the span of a year is so much more faster and so much more efficient than what I think people have been able to accomplish in previous generations. So it's kind of mind-boggling to think about how much more efficient people are going to be in the years to come. So you joined the Dropshipping Council. You're a
Mhm.
member, and I'm going through each one of them. So can you talk about how you got into it? How did they reach out to you to apply? Did you apply on your own accord, or how'd it go?
I remember I saw on YouTube like a post between the videos, and it just said Dropshipping Council, and it was a small ad, and yeah, that's it. I guess I just instantly signed up for it and talked to Shisha, and I was in.
Okay. It's good news. I mean, I think some people might think, "Oh man, this is going to be like a 6-month ordeal where they have to climb a mountain or something to get through." But no, just you've done the work prior to the application. So let's
Yeah,
get into that. The first story that sticks out to me, which is from your profile in the Dropshipping Council, and I'm hoping that you're cool talking about it. You did mention it on the profile, so obviously you've did say it publicly once already. But you made a pretty sizable investment, and you didn't
mm.
see a return. So it says 20K. Now, was that 20 euros, or did they convert that to US dollars for the
No,
purposes
20,000 euros. Yeah.
20,000 euros? Okay. So what happened there? How did you start with it? I'm not trying to. What happened? Are you okay? But like, let's hear the story about it, because that is a lot of money, and how you recovered and managed to thrive afterwards is something that I think people are going to really want to hear about.
Yeah, so the like if you're trying to get self-employed, if you're trying to earn your money on yourself, there's so much you have to learn when you're
Mhm.
starting from zero. And when I started, I was 19, so I didn't know anything. I just knew I didn't want to study. I didn't want to work my whole life for someone else. and that's it. So, and I knew I wanted to earn money online from the beginning because that seemed like the coolest way, and I always wanted to travel, and that way you can travel and work just with your laptop and internet theoretically. So the thing is, why didn't I give up? Pretty early, I learned that you cannot lose if you don't give up. And that's like everything that kept me going. I was always like, okay, if I'm losing like 10,000 euros on this, it's okay because I learned so much from these 10,000 I lost.
Mhm.
Maybe the next 2,000 I will invest will bring me back 20. And that's like why I always kept going, keep going. Even if to this day, if I never had success, I would still be try to get it. And even if I was 50,000 and lost, like that's even more motivation. No, you already have lost 50,000. It shouldn't be for nothing. That was the whole thing. So I never counted how much it was until I got successful. Then I remembered. I looked back and counted everything together, and I was shocked myself. I didn't know it was so much.
Well, every year, because I also have my own self-employment, I go through my credit card statements for the year just to look at for write-offs, and I'm in for a bit of a shock when I realize it's not like I've made like one major chunk here or there. There are some of those, but it's also a lot of the little
Yeah.
expenditures that add up. Like, oh my goodness, did I really need to go to the A&W that last Thursday?
Yeah,
Could I,
and I was always a fan of online courses, and these are pretty expensive sometimes, 2,000, 3,000 euros. But I always like I'm the guy. If you have me on your phone and you're selling me a course, I will buy it. I'm this guy because I'm always thinking, even if I'm not learning anything, I'm still learning that this wasn't the way. So and the money was never like, I don't know, it's these $3,000 just a number, you know. You can make back 10,000 a day if you're good in dropshipping. So what is 3,000 to invest in myself? That was always my thought.
So with those courses, how many of them do you think you've taken up to this point? Like, what were some of the ones that stuck out to you as like really good, solid lessons? What were some of the ones where you thought, okay.
Yeah, I guess it were 4 or 5, maybe 6 different courses. Some were about like $200-300, some were 3,000. The most expensive one was the one that was the worst.
Okay. I can see why that checks out.
Yeah, and then the one for $300. Can I say from whom it was?
Well, let's just put it this way. If it's going to be positive, then let's hear it. But if it's
Yeah, yeah,
negative, we don't
it's
want to give them
positive.
any
No,
oxygen.
it's
Yeah.
positive. Yeah,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Gabriel Saint-Germain. So I guess many people know him. This was the best course, and it was only $300. So everyone who's starting out now into searching for a guru that he can trust and just do everything that he says, and don't really think too much about it. Don't put your own head too much in it. You can buy the course from Gabriel. It's very good.
Yeah, good. Fair recommendation. We might even reach out to him to be a guest on the show down the
Oh
line.
yeah, I would
Yeah,
love to hear that.
we're recording right now. What is it? It's September. We're recording this. We've already got guests booked all the way through to January. So
Okay.
we're all about banking that. So here's what I noticed. I'm looking at your Instagram, and if I just looked at your Instagram, I wouldn't have guessed that you're doing what you're doing. I
Mhm.
would have guessed that you like going to the gym, you like traveling. So you're just a chill dude who's just doing his thing. And I think you have the record for the biggest biceps out of everybody that I've interviewed so far. Although to be fair, a few of the first guests I didn't see them, so I don't know. Maybe they're hiding something. But there is a correlation here, which is that you seem to have this drive to continue to improve yourself physically, which I think is that same drive that you're doing to improve yourself mentally, because you're still trying to absorb the information. And as long as you're absorbing that information and your understanding is growing, then to you, it's all good.
Like fitness is a crucial part of my life, and without it, I don't know if I would be as motivated to work every day on my computer. So that's like really really crucial for me. I hate just doing one thing. I'm a guy. I need to have like different things I can do, and like that are very different from another. So there are people who love working so much, like my business partner, I guess he could be happy with only a laptop, but not me. So I have to do sports. I have to do different things. And the cool thing you learn from fitness is also to never give up. You're working on that long-term goal, and you're not really seeing any success in short term. Like you can take a picture now and then in 2 months, and the difference will be minimal. But when you take a picture now and you take a picture in 2 years, and you really stick to it, then it's gonna be huge. And yeah, that's like my work ethic too. So
I think
yeah.
that's one of the hardest lessons, especially for young people growing up, is that there's a lot of stimulation and it's easy for kids to be bombarded, especially because most kids now have at least like 2 screens at their disposal. So I think
Mm.
that's one of the hardest lessons, but it's also one of the most important ones to impart at a young age, which is this is something that pays off over time. It's like some things you pay now, you're rewarded later, but other things you're rewarded now and then you got to pay later, which is not so good.
Yeah, it's all about the long term, the long term goals. Like short term is never really great. What comes
Exactly.
out of this? Yeah.
Exactly. Now, here's that particular point on short term versus long term. I know that that is a mindset that you apply to your working relationship with your friend and your. I want to make sure I got it right. Your branding agency.
Mm. No branding agency. We're just us two, our
Okay.
company.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. My apologies. But just so I understand where I thought that is because it says on your dropshipping account, together with his business partner, his greatest interest is in learning how to brand like a pro and in creating brands that will survive
Mm.
multiple years. So that is
Okay,
where I
yeah.
got that idea.
Yeah. Like turn our dropshipping stores into long-term brands. Like that was the idea.
Okay, let's talk about that. So, being a customer, one of the things that has stuck out to me is that a lot of these companies, they'll come up with a quick logo
Hmm.
and they'll burn through their product and then they're gone. And the one I keep going back to is this thing called the hands-free bracket. It was just this arm that you stick into a desk. You can put your iPad or phone into or whatever. It seemed useful to me, but I never got it. And then I went to go to customer service, and well, the website went down. And so I've seen the spectrum of like bad experiences versus good experiences, and there's also brands that I know and trust because I've known them my whole life. Like
Hmm.
Nintendo is a brand that I generally know the quality of. So far, what have you learned and what have you been applying to your operations that have tried to get these brands to have good foundations and to last in the long term?
Okay, so what you want to do is once you hit 50 orders a day, you want to get an sourcing agent to have good shipping times. That's crucial for Facebook, because Facebook will send out these review requests to your former customers, and they have to rate you. And if you're falling under 2, which is pretty easy if you have bad shipping times, your ad account is gone.
Mhm.
The ad performance won't be as good as before. Like we're talking from 20% profit margin to 10 or 5. So yeah, you can shut down the whole thing pretty much. So that's crucial. What would be the second most important thing? Your customer service. You
Mhm.
shouldn't do it on your own, because it's draining so much energy and it's giving you so much negativity, because the people who are reaching out to you are reaching out because of a problem, not because they like your brand. That's not why because why you're writing to customer service. So you're getting this idea of, oh, all I'm doing is negative to these people, these poor people who spent like $30 and they never got their product. But you're forgetting all the other 95 or 99% of people who are probably happy with the product. Yeah, so that's crucial too, to find someone who does your customer service, so that you have all that energy for your advertising and your ideas, and not for, yeah, I don't want to
Mhm.
say the word, but you know what I want to say.
Yeah.
Not for this.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you from firsthand experience. I've done a number of customer service jobs, and one of my more recent ones was remotely. So
Hmm.
it didn't really, it doesn't really occur to me, but before I took the job, just how draining it can be. So I can definitely illuminate on this as well. So one of the key problems is that working in customer service, you've got to give people the tools they need to actually resolve the problems. Otherwise we end up just being therapists. where people are just venting their problem to us, and there's nothing that we can do to assist them. And it takes creative thinking to try to come up with a solution to the problem. One guy, he's waiting for his product to arrive, and I'm contractually obligated not to say, not that I think it's a bad thing, but whatever. So his product doesn't arrive, and he booked the whole day off. And he calls and he says, I could order a pizza, and the pizza delivery place would give me a GPS tracker to let me know where it is. I know more about the pizza than I do with my product. So I want to dial into the customer service bit for a little bit here.
Yep.
What tools do you give to your customer service agents so that they can effectively do their job, and as well as be a bulwark against that tide of negativity that's coming their way?
Yeah, to speak about the negativity again, it was just so negative for me because it was my shop. Like I took it personally, even though I didn't want to. But now a friend of mine is doing it, so it's pretty easy. I just gave him all the access. He has all the passwords. He can do everything. He can refund on his own. He doesn't have to ask me or something. So
And you
that's
trust
really
him.
easy. If
You trust
yeah, I
his
trust him.
discretion.
Yeah, if I wouldn't know the person, if it wasn't like a remote worker or something, then it would become more complicated. But I don't have any experience with that, so luckily I don't have to think about it. I'm just giving him all the permission and say, "Do your best," and that's easy. And in the past, it was good like that because I really trust him.
Yeah, and this is something that just popped into my head, is that one way that I can see helping people just to have a little bit more of like a balance between positivity and negativity too, is if there's also like a feedback address where customers could just, compliments, questions, concerns, gives them a chance to say something positive. And that's one thing that I would just throw out into the ether just in case so that way people can check their emails, and instead of like a screw you, screw you, screw you, there's a, oh, hey, hey, thanks very much, kind of throw it into the mix. But
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
so you are the first person that I've spoken to who's German, and I mean, I'm talking to people all over the world. I talk to people in Italy, in Thailand, in Taiwan, Australia, and it's just everywhere. But I would like to talk about the German market. So one of them is the relationship between the German market and, I guess, really how the rest of the world could enter it. From your perspective, have you seen a lot of international businesses or brands or even just dropshippers make their way into Germany? And also for your operation as well, is that where are you selling and marketing to? Are you selling internationally, or where are you aiming your energy?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I can't sell in Germany because of tax issues.
Okay.
Like all my profits would go with tax, or like most of them. So I'm only selling in internationally. But if you're lucky enough to live in another country, and not in Europe in particular, and if you know someone who speaks German or have enough money to let it translate, then you should definitely just pick the like the best winning products from the last couple of years. Make a super simple shop, put it everything down in good German. It should really look like a real German brand.
Mhm.
And then you could even steal the creatives, I guess, and just make them German, and it will go through the roof. It's super untapped market for dropshippers to sell products in the language of these countries, because there are so many people here in Germany who can't speak English, but have the money and are willing to spend it on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, other than that, there aren't really big differences. I guess it's the same thing. It's like psychology to sell things, and we're all humans, so it's for everyone.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, when I was doing research on the solo episode about global markets, for those of you who listened to that episode, I'll be talking about the facts that I've picked up there to David for some firsthand verification on it. But it also said, like, say, they gave an example of China. They said that people in China also value purchasing things for social status. Like they'll spend their income on an iPhone because
Hmm.
the local stature that it gives them to have an iPhone, it gives them more of that status. And I read that and I thought, yeah, that's it's kind of
That's,
everybody.
yeah, I just want to say that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Every
So
human wants to have that feeling. of look at me, appreciate me because I have that super expensive new phone. But yeah, you can grow out of that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to mock, to myself in my head when I would see somebody walking by with a cup of Starbucks coffee,
Hmm.
thinking, "Oh, Mr. got a Starbucks coffee. It's so prestigious." He probably tipped the person.
Yeah,
And then, of
but
course, there
yeah.
ended up being a Starbucks near my area, and like, "Oh, I've become the person."
Yeah, every time you have thoughts like this, if something triggers you, you should always think, what is the reason? Where can I find the reason for that emotional
Mhm,
reaction in myself at first? Like you get this super nice perspective of viewing yourself like you would be another person and being a bit more neutral with yourself and yeah, and improve yourself like that. Like if you're getting a super emotional reaction from someone who's driving by in a Ferrari, there's
mhm.
you should maybe think about being a little bit too envy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, mind you, the example that I was giving, I was, like, in my 20s, and I still have a lot of I still have my fair share of issues that I'm working on, but, as time goes on and it's not just experiencing the issue once, but it's experiencing the
Hmm.
pattern of it. Once I recognize that something is a pattern, is I say, "Okay, now I need to break this pattern before it gets worse," and then it becomes a habit that I can't live without. But I also noticed too, and this came up especially in the conversation that I had with Chris Wayne, is that a lot of that resentment brews from jealousy of somebody else's success. And I think for me, I would say the major disconnect is people, let's just say they see somebody in the Ferrari, for example, they might not even think that the person earned it. They
Mm,
might just think that the person came from money or they grifted their way into making that money. So that disconnect I can understand, but you have to give people the benefit of the doubt. I mean, that's economics for you.
yeah.
People pay each other because we
Yeah,
we,
and,
we
and most
provide
of most of
services
the
to each
time, if you
other.
think someone else doesn't earn something, you most likely think you yourself wouldn't earn it. So you would think not even myself would earn to drive a Ferrari. So why this guy? But it's hard to see that thought because we're also identified with our own thoughts if we're not doing like shadow work or meditating regularly. So yeah, you can't blame yourself too much.
Sorry, did you say shadow work?
Yeah, I don't know if this word actually exists in English, but it's like an one to
It sounds like
yeah,
something
it's like
new to me.
the German word would be Schattenarbeit, which means shadow work. It's just exactly what I just said. Like if you have an emotional reaction of something, if something triggers you, you will
Mhm.
you should
Okay.
always think what in me is being triggered, and not only complain about what triggered you in the first place. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I hadn't heard that term before, so I was just wanting to make sure
Mhm.
what it is. A couple of other factoids I learned about Germany, and I know you're not like the ambassador for the country, but whatever it is you have to say on the subject would be helpful to me and to our listeners. So, meta comment is we booked these in advance, and this was booked for it's 2 p.m. my time. I'm not sure what time it was for you when you got here, but you got here right on the dot. And I thought, "Oh, wow, that's probably the most punctual anybody's been so far with, like, a 30-second to 1-minute differential." And you said, that's the German stereotype. It's, precision German engineering." So how much validity is there to that you see in day to day? I mean, does Germany, the whole thing run on, right to the minute?
Yeah, so if I remember back to like school or where I was employed, it do be like that. So yeah, if you come like 2 minutes too late, it's like you get that weird look. And if it's like 5 minutes, then you will have a discussion with your boss or your teacher. Yeah, so it's really like that. Not under friends, like if my friends are maybe sometimes late an hour if they want to, but if it's like real official things, and if you have to respect the person, it's if it's an authority, then yeah, everyone is really on the point with time. Yeah.
For a second there, I was just thinking that if somebody in Germany is gonna be late, but they would be, like, precisely late, like, "Oh, you are exactly 30 minutes late, like not 1 second below or after.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like that. Like time
Um,
is our worst enemy here.
yeah. The next one I picked up on was a high usage of invoices, where Germans tend to want to pay
Hmm.
using invoices. Is
Yeah,
that something
because we
that
have
you've
to,
seen or you
like
pay?
because of taxes. You have to prove
Okay.
everything you pay
Okay.
with invoices, and if you don't have the invoice, you have to pay it from your like netto money, so from your own money with after taxes, not before. Yeah, so that's a problem. We have to, or you pay double.
So what is the tax rate? I mean, here in Canada, our tax. Like, I'm in Ontario. It's one of the more expensive provinces to live, but we also get swimming pools, I guess. So our sales tax is 13% HST.
So
Or
that's
what is
on
it?
like
What is
the
it there?
profits, 13% on the profits.
And anything that we
Ah,
pay on,
okay,
like
okay.
any purchase that we make, we have to. It's
Um, uh,
13%.
because of Corona, it's 16, but normally it's 19 in Germany.
Okay.
And yeah, like the tax rates here are like the second highest in the world. Only Belgium is above us. Yeah, with 42% maximum tax rate on your profits. So nearly half of it is just gone.
That's
Yeah.
that's quite a lot. What's the trade-off? Because I did one of the companies I worked for in the past, they
Hmm.
were based out of Germany, and I do know that, Germany did have I mean, they had a lot of bank holidays, so, they have more days off than we did. So it seems to me that there is a lot of, like, social care and that, the people are being taken care of, but obviously you're there, so I would rather hear it from
Yes.
you.
So the health system is really great. You can break all your bones and be in the hospital for 10 years and you won't pay anything. And you can save a lot of on taxes if you have like the great and the right structure. So the most companies won't pay 42% because they're smart with it.
Mhm.
But yeah, the real trade-off. What's the trade-off? I hope there's a
I
trade-off.
know it's not exactly like an e-commerce question, but, I think it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
good to know, right? In case
Yeah,
people are
but the
interested.
people here are always complaining about, oh, the state is spending the tax money stupid and on this and on this. Yeah, it's a common thing to talk about here, to complain about.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be something I'll ask you once the
Yeah.
recording is off, just because 'cause I'm sure, there's 2 very different conversations. There's the family friendly, and then there's the ooh. The next one I picked up on is that there is a large quantity of small businesses in Germany, that the majority of businesses are staffed by 10 people or less. So is that something you can
I
speak
didn't
to?
even know that. But
Okay,
my
fair
brother
enough.
has a business with 6 or 7 employees, so he's one of these of them. But yeah, I didn't know that.
Mhm. Fair enough. The next one is, this one's kinda specific. It's the amount of people who are using optic fiber internet is
Oh,
around
really?
8.5%. Like, is that something that comes up in
8.5%.
conversation
Yeah,
that
it's yeah,
yeah.
it's a thing we are crying and laughing about the internet here. Like I myself, I had the worst possible internet, like 1,000 mbits, so nothing pretty much for pretty much my whole life, except 3 years I lived in Munich. The internet there was great, and now since maybe 3 or 4 months, we finally got good internet here where I am now. But before it was like yeah, Stone Age. But the internet over air is really good. LTE is good.
Okay, right on. And then the last one, just from the research that I picked up on, is that in terms of purchasing, German consumers tend to take their time, do a lot of research, a lot of careful thinking, not known for being impulsive.
Yeah, maybe. But Facebook gives you like super low CPMs if you're only targeting to Germany. You get like CPMs of €4, €5. So even though you have to have the double the traffic for the same revenue, I guess, pretty much. But that's okay because you get the
Mhm.
traffic even more cheaper than double. So or maybe exactly half the price. So yeah, it's okay.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you for those. Like I said, it doesn't come up too often, so I figured now would be my
Mhm.
my best chance to do it. So, in regards to your working relationship with your best friend, I think that's great. Now, that this is something that over the course of my life, I've tried to do business ventures with my friends. Some of them work out, some of them actually, so honestly, none of them have worked out. How do you two kind of like divvy up the responsibilities, and how do you guys just make sure that your friendship remains rock solid as well as your business relationship?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a question I ask myself, um, and in the past, but it's just working. I'm only there for advertising at the moment, and he's building all the
Mhm,
shops, and he's doing the product research. Our other friend, who's like an employee, is doing the customer service. So we are a team of three now, and
mhm.
I can't see why it shouldn't work out. Like we are so harmonic, and then there's none other friend of mine that I would have done like a company with than other than him, because it's like we're soulmates. you know you could say it like that. Yeah, so if you don't have a friend where you do have the feeling, okay, I could um, do anything with him, and I can trust my life on him, then maybe this wouldn't be a great idea. And also he's a better worker than me, so he's just improving me. Yeah, I learned so much from him, like through
Mhm.
discipline and working and structuring yourself. And he's financial guru. Like he's very good with money and investing. So there's like 10,000 things I could benefit from him, and he learns dropshipping from me. So yeah.
And how do you guys start being friends? Did you meet through
Yeah, I
school
don't know
or?
him that long actually. I just know him for about 2 years, or maybe three. Yeah, three. I worked as a waiter, and my colleague lived together with this friend I have the company with. And so completely randomly, I just got to know him, and he was super focused on. He was like a one-to-one seller. So he met up with people and sold
Mhm,
them stuff. I was completely fascinated, and then he told me he was always dreaming about a company, having an online business, and being free to travel. And so yeah, he was, I guess, really thrilled to hear that I was planning on doing that. On this time, I didn't have anything to show, any success, only 20,000 euros in minus.
mhm.
Yeah, but somehow we got best friends, and not only because of the work, of course. Everything else fitted too.
I mean, I love all my friends dearly, including the ones that I've tried to have arrangements with, and a lot of my friends are people that have stuck around, like people that I've known through
Hmm.
elementary school. We forged that bond by having to endure it together. Some great friends from high school, from college, a couple of workplaces, and people are friends for different reasons, right? Sometimes it's just about having that shared experience and wanting to continue to see each other grow. It's about having people that and you can trust and are just going to be there for you. And then it's also about, I think, with your friend, is that people who really are about the future and are about moving forward and are optimistic, certainly, and just want to continue to build into something
Yeah,
better. But you got to know, yeah, which of your friends can do what.
yeah. And then, like he's a combination of everything. So he's my best friend in terms of laughing together, talking about work, talking about problems, motivating each other, and like super positive. And that's what I love. Like I don't, I have there's so much negativity in the world and
Mhm,
in my daily life. So I'm really driven to get to know people that are very positive minded, and just want to grow, and want to and see problems as a chance to grow, and not as something to complain about, which is very common in Germany. So most people here are, are
mhm.
like, oh, I have a problem, who else does have the same problem, so we can cry about it together, and not helping each other out of there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes right back to teaching your kids to eat broccoli when they're young. Is that, yeah, complaining about it feels great in the moment, but then
Yeah.
people get addicted to it, and they just start complaining day after
Yeah,
day
they
after
they get
day.
a persona, like
Yeah,
they want to have that, like people agreeing with them, even if it's hurting them. But you can blame it on them, because they don't know what they're doing to themselves. They're just there for the feeling, I guess.
that's true. So Let's hear more about your advertising. As much as you're willing to share your method with us, let's say that you and your partner are starting up a
Hmm.
new dropshipping site. You said that you focus on the advertising part. So tell us about when you step into the process and how you get it from incubation to your
Mm,
sales.
yeah, nothing crazy. I guess you've heard it 1,000 times on
Sure.
different YouTube videos because that's where I got it from, and from Gabriel Saint-Germain. So yeah, it's just 4 creatives for the testing campaign. 4 creatives, 1 image ad. You could even do a carousel ad, 2 to 3 video ads, and different videos, or maybe like a different scroll stopper. So the first 3 to 6 seconds, and then yeah, just test right away with these creatives. Don't do a PPE or something to find out which is the best creative, because the data is trash. Only data from conversion campaign does count in my experience. Everything else you can trust on. And then Facebook is really good finding out really fast which creative is best for which audience, and then yeah, getting these sales in. And once you have a few sales, the pixel is getting hard, and it's getting easier and easier. Once you have like 100 sales a day, it's like magic. Every interest you test is working and all. You could even do super broad audiences, like just everyone in a country, and it will work, most likely, if the product is hot. And then lookalikes do the magic. Scaling, mm,
Hmm.
if you're talking about scaling, it's like all CBOs right now. You just do a new CBO campaign with the best interest you have and the best assets you have. I mean, and then put all your best creatives in there, 3 to 6 maybe, and then yeah, go in with high budget. And normally it will work if the like if it works on low budget, like if you're doing 1,000 revenue a day with 20 to 30% profit margin, let's say. And then you're scaling up to 2, 3, 4, 5,000 a day. It will it will decrease, but just a bit, a little bit, and then there will be that point where it decreases too much, and then you just lowering your budget again, and that's it. So once it's going, it's really easy. I think Facebook is like really helping you a lot. The most problems you will have once it's working is like higher CPMs for no reason, or customers complaining too much and Facebook shutting you
Hmm.
down. So these are the real problems. That's why you want to have really good service. Not of course because you want to have a good business. I hope so, but
Sure.
especially because if you don't put in the work, then Facebook will just shut you down. So that's the real thing to look out.
Definitely. Some of the other people, like you said, it's not that any one person is reinventing the wheel, but everybody is just adding their own spokes, their own little takes on it. And I can certainly speak to the fact that Facebook wants people to trust their website. They even go after. I don't want to get too much into it because it gets political, but they do have some issues they take with certain news
Hmm.
articles being posted. They will try to like take down articles that they perceive as fake news, and it gets a little like, hold on a second, you sure about that
Yeah.
Facebook?
No,
Because
every time.
you really should let people
Every
decide for
time.
themselves. But
Every time something gets rejected, it's not right, in my opinion. Yeah, but you can't do anything with Facebook. You can request another review, and then it's got rejected again, and then you have to find out the solution for it. And they won't help you as much, but that's part of the game. Sorry for interrupting you.
oh no, no, it's all good. I mean, you are correct on that. And if there's anything I need to be cut off on, it's if whenever I start getting into Facebook and fake news. Okay, so you did probably did good there. So down the line, let's look at like a 3-year window going forward. Is there anything you are anticipating, or any major predictions you see for the industry, or even for any particular
Phew, it's so hard to
technologies?
make predictions right now because this whole Corona thing. But for the whole industry,
Hmm.
yeah, like what everyone else says. The more branded, the better. The more it looks like a real brand, the better.
Hmm.
And that's just my opinion, but niche and one product stores over general stores, just because it looks more branded. So, but in 3 years, like how you said, the most experts are just in the game for like 2 years, 3 years. So it can change
Hmm.
so much. 2 years from now, so two years ago, people have made general stores that looked horrible, and they made
Mhm.
super many sales. And now it's like, if your shop doesn't look at least a little bit professional, so not that you would say, oh whoa, this looks great, but just like, oh yeah, that looks okay, like to just get that reaction, oh yeah, it looks okay, your shop has to have a pretty high niveau, I would say. Yeah, well, once you know what to do, it's pretty easy. But at the beginning, you should just look at other shops who are successful and then copy most of it. Yeah, that's the best thing
Mhm.
to do at the beginning, because
Fair enough.
you won't be that big of a competition if you're not that long in the game anyway. So even if you're having success with stolen shop, not completely stolen, of course, that's not fair, but like 80%, 90% of it, you just stolen from another one. You won't take away the customers anyway, because PayPal will come and will come in your way, Facebook will come in your way, and you don't have your team. You can't scale up that
Mhm.
much. So just earn your first a few thousand with copying others who are already successful, and then that's the best method to learning your stuff, in my opinion.
We're getting close to wrapping this up, but I'll ask you one more question in related to your business, and then I'll give you a chance to kind of like close us out. But in terms of your product selection, I want to know if there's any niches that you gravitate towards, as well as your vetting process, just to make sure that the products you're selling aren't going to, give customer service a hard time.
Mm, yeah, I'm always searching for products that other merchants are selling successfully and that have good reviews, so that I know that the product is actually good. I had success with alternatives for plastic products. So this is a nice niche because it has a good impact on the world in terms of like less plastic in the ocean, for example. And then like the back pain niche, because I myself have severe back pain, so I'm just interested in that. And I love all the products. I bought all back pain products from Amazon for myself, and you can dropship all of them. And they're great and they're working. So I know that that our customers will love them. Yeah, and my business partner is really on the kitchen niche, and I love that too because you have like
Mhm.
um, endless products to test there. It's not like 10 to 20; it's more like 1,000 to 2,000 different products to test in that niche, and they're all good. So you're never running out of ideas there. Yeah, but as a general tip, I would not really listen to your heart at the beginning too much what to test, but just listen to data, read
Mhm.
data, and then copy what was successful before, so you learn your skills, and then you can build that real good brand with real good service that fulfills, I don't know, your maybe even your personal life or something.
What was some of the first products that you drop shipped?
Some of the first were kitchen products, and then came the plastic alternative. It was the silicone stretch lids. I guess many people know it because it's still getting sold like crazy. Yeah, but I don't think there's a product that has more competition than that. So don't try it. It
Mhm.
probably won't work. Yeah, but that was the first product that really went through the roof.
All right. Well, that's going to be a wrap for today, David Weisbacker. I wanted to try your last name again just to see if I could retain it. It's been a pleasure talking to you. If there's any last minute piece of advice you want to impart onto people or anything you want to say in closing, this is your chance. So let us have it.
My last piece of advice. And it was a real pleasure talking to you too. So thank you very much for that. It was
You're welcome very
I'm
much.
feeling very welcomed here, and I love talking to you. So the last piece
Thank
of
you.
advice is, you have to have a life vision. It's not like a side hustle. Dropshipping is not a side hustle, and it's not like a small project or earning some money. You have to have a vision that doesn't have to be like a big brand or something, but even if you just want to travel the world and you need money for that, like that's a vision enough for online business. But you have to have a purpose. You have to have like a real motivation And earning money or buying something with money is not a real motivation. So it has to be like, you have to be heart driven. Yeah, I think that's the best advice I could give, because someone who knows his why will always find a way
Mhm.
to accomplish things. If you don't know your purpose, then there will be one big stone in your way and you will give up. But if you have your purpose, you know, oh,
Mhm.
maybe this really big mountain in front of my way will cost me 2 years of my life to work around it or to climb above it, but you will still do it because you, either you're working for your purpose or you're not happy.
I can certainly back that up too, because I have my own like major life goals. I try to like not say it aloud too many times, because if I say it too much, then I'm rewarding myself for
Mhm.
telling people the idea versus
Mhm.
actually accomplishing the idea. But it's there, and it's been a goal of mine for quite a while. And everything that I do, every decision that I make has to
Yeah.
funnel into that in some way. And I'm okay with it taking a long time. I'm okay with
Mhm.
if I pass away and I move on to the next life, and then I can,
Yeah.
do it then, because it's a story that I want to tell. So, maybe it'll be easier to do when we move on from this realm to the next. Achieving the goal is it's great, but the best part is what you do to get
Yeah.
there. It
Yeah.
really
And
is.
you lose all fear of dying, because the fear of dying is most often it comes from a place from, if I die, I can't do the things I want to do later. And people always
Mhm.
have a reason to do things later they should do now. But if you're already doing the thing you should do now and you really want to do, and if you're really just doing things without any fear, and you're feared of it, what could happen, but you're still doing it, then your fear of death is going away, and your happiness level will increase like 5 times. I don't know. That's just my experience, but I've read it in many books, so other people are making this experience too.
Outstanding. All right, we're gonna let it go there. So once again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and we will see you guys in the next
Bye bye.
episode. Take care. You might have found this show on any number of platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or right here on Debutify. Whatever the case, if you enjoyed this content and want to help us thrive, please take a few moments to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you think is best. We also want to hear from you, so whether you think you'd be a good guest or want to weigh in on anything related to our show, you can email podcast@debutify.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Finally, this podcast is created by the passionate team at Debutify. If you're ready to take the plunge into e-commerce or are looking to up your game, head over to debutify.com and see how it can change your life and the lives of many through what you do next.